Hello and welcome to Three Comics Walk into a non-socially distanced pub. Thanks very much for joining us on this live podcast. I'll start off with a couple of very topical songs. The first one is a little nursery rhyme for the latest COVID figures. Oh, the daily COVID reports, there's something wrong with them. They match them up to the top of the peak, then they go down again. Oh, then they suddenly go up, and then they might go down. Oh, well, it seems to be all over now. Let me breathe on Granny's face. And a little message from the Secretary of Health to us all. If you get COVID, don't you cower. Stand with your legs apart and savor the power. Don't worry. Be Javid. I shrugged it off. It was a stretch. I wasn't a cowardly, sniveling wretch. Don't worry. Just be Javid. Well, that was enough from me, and I would like to introduce you to my cohorts today in our wide-ranging discussion, Mr. Paul Rickett and Juliet Meyers. Hello, guys. Yay. Hello, Ray. So here we are in our non-socially distanced pub. I'm closest to the camera. The first subject we're going to discuss today is, of course, the pandemic news. What's been happening? Because I just mentioned Sajid Javid. What do you guys think of his message to people that they shouldn't cower from the virus?
I wonder if he's been parachuted into the job, and he hasn't quite understood. You'd have thought he would have heard of the pandemic, but he seems to have kind of he's just sort of done that sort of can-do attitude thing that I was once asked to do, but, just say, it's all fine, we can do it. And it's just like, how can you, I don't know how he can say, I mean, it's just classic bloody Sajid Javid Tories, isn't it? To be like, oh yeah, I know what this is. Don't be frightened of something. Where does he think the dead people are? Hiding in a room for his surprise 50th birthday?
He reminds me of those characters from French and Saunders. Do you remember the two really fat ladies who were going, just a head cold? Oh, yes, shake it off.
Yes.
That's what he's like.
That's it. I know those. And they'd be like, oh, my bloody arm came off and the combine harvester. Yes. What
about you, Paul? What do you think?
I like the idea of Sajid Superman. I just think it's a really that he's got some sort of ridiculous superpower which he can channel into his little Humpty Dumpty head. Which I sort of like the idea that he's telling us, well, if I can do it, but anyone can do it. It's the Trump thing. Trump did exactly the same stuff. When he came out of the hospital, took off his mask and did an ad for Regeneron. Which was really cheesy. I've never felt better. I feel great. You should try it. It's so good. That's the only thing that Sajid wasn't selling us anything apart from, personal power. If you can channel that person, don't cower to this, this virus. You can beat it because I did. No one seems to have told him that, of course, there's lots of people who survive. It's the ones who don't. That's the problem. It's and it's a big amount that you can't really just say attitude can change it. Attitude has nothing to do with it.
Well, it's kind of the moral dimension as well, that there's a sort of flaw or a weakness morally in you if you succumb to the virus. It's like, who knew?
Yeah, death is just you being like wimpy about it. I know. I mean, I'm amazed he hasn't gone further and just sort of taken a kind of hair of the dog approach and been like, actually, now I'm gonna eat bats and just make sure I never get it.
That's right. More COVID in the morning.
Yes.
And of course, there was a lot of controversy this week. A member of Sage said, I can't remember his name, but he said there was something very fishy about the COVID figures, the way that they've dropped day on day for 7 days, and then they started to go up again. Then they started to go down.
Surely fishy is the wrong word. Shouldn't it be batty or pandalini or it's not fishy. I mean, the Chinese thought it was fish. Don't forget that they're the ones that claimed that it never started in China. It was from fish, frozen fish that came from France. And then the World Health Organization goes, well, I don't think someone with COVID in France could have packed some frozen fish and it not have any effect on France.
Can I just give a shout out, by the way, and say hello to the people watching? Hi, thanks for watching. And if you want to put any comments in the platform, in the private thing, just say hi.
Betty. Yes, in the English expression rather than the Jamaican one.
Yeah. Qualify that, actually.
Yes, a little bit batty. I mean, I like that idea. That Sergeant meant that.
But I mean, it does prove that, like there's always that cliche, isn't there, that every Asian parent wants their son to be a doctor. It just proves that Sajid wouldn't have managed it, like if he doesn't.
He'd have just stood at the end of a bed with his legs akimbo, wouldn't he? Just gone, not affecting me.
But
they are saying that the reason that the figures are going down, aren't they? Is that people, especially in the 18 to 25 age group, are A, deleting the app, and B, not getting tested.
Yeah, but I thought that
was driving the figures down.
I thought there was also supposed to be, like they seem to say on some news bulletins quite quickly, of course, we haven't got post-Freedom Day stats yet. And
not until next Friday. Yeah.
Well, no. So, of course, they've gone down because Freedom Day and the World Footy thing, that whatever it was, the Euros.
Yeah, that's the proper title, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the World Footy thing.
Just footy thing will do.
Incidentally, by the way, did you read that how that they're able to gain really accurate impressions of where the COVID is surging and everything is by going through excrement, the sewage, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us neatly, by the way, to Gillian McKeith, or as somebody on Twitter very wittily said, to give her her medical title, Gillian McKeith. She is railed against lockdown, etc., vaccines, and she's revealed herself to be batshit crazy. Who knew?
There's no idea that you would have thought that this woman was crazy even when she was famous. I also think a lot of people think this is a way to get famous again. There is a great groundswell of idiots out there that need leaders.
Well, she's tried to reclaim the insults, hasn't she? COVID-idiots. I mean, we were talking about this before, weren't we, Paul? In the real world, but about the insults that people are bandying back and forth, and the sort of the alt-right have got some. Ramona's was a, no matter what you think of the arguments, what a fantastic insult that is. But we need to get some of our own, don't we? So, have you got any thoughts?
I've got loads. One which I did last night at a gig in Deal, which was a good place to do it in, just next to Dover. So it was Conspiracy Shepherd, which is someone who thinks everyone is sheep. Another one I've got is Ricky Hatton. You call someone a Ricky Hatton because he hasn't got an effective jab. YouTube Effluencer. Someone who passes shit opinions from random people he's seen on YouTube. What's the other one? I missed that. This one I quite like. You can call someone a poor Tina Turner. It's someone who stays with David Icke despite all the evidence to the contrary.
Oh, that's a very niche one. That's good. How about you, Juliet? Have you got any? New insights?
I like to refer to people that they went to the University of Meme.
Oh, very good. That's very good.
And well, it is that though, isn't it? It's like, because I think we talked about this on the last one of these that we did, that thing where so many of these people say, do the reading. And I'm like, I have done the reading and my lips didn't move while I did it. What else have I got? The only other one I could think of was people who believe themselves to be constipated felines because they believe they can't catch it.
Oh, very good. I do like the word meme because that contains the word me twice, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no me in meme. Oh yeah, there is.
I've got a couple. QAnon and on, a place where people addicted to conspiracy theories go to be cured. Fibitarian, I think that speaks for itself. The aggressive librarian, that's the one who says do your own research.
Yeah.
And the other one that I had was Foctor, which is a fake doctor.
Oh, there's loads of them.
Foctor. You know, the ones with the diplomas on the wall, sort of like slightly at an angle. Hi there, I'm a doctor. And I say, yeah, God.
Yeah, it's the one you tell them that you find out they're a pediatrician. This is the person that they're getting all their information from. They're not a virologist or anything like that. Could be a vet or something.
I also tried to think of one because I find it so bizarre. There's a thing that seems to be doing the rounds quite a lot on Facebook at the moment of people saying, do you actually know anyone that had COVID?
Have you seen these? Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. Like, yes, like, so I was thinking of, you know, in the Monty Python sketch when the pet shop owner is like, oh no, he's not dead. And I always think like all these conspiracy theorists like, no, people aren't dead. They're just sleeping.
Yeah,
sleeping.
Just pining. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
I've actually put that as a reply. I found the what they call it, those things that I can't remember the name now. But on social media, it's just I just put up the a little bit of the parrot sketch to one of these people.
Oh, did you? Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
With him banging the parrot on the table, you just go, well, that's all you need to say. It doesn't matter what I say to you. Pining for the fjords.
Yeah, they would probably go pining for the fjords because Norway has dealt with it really well.
Yeah.
Sweden. Of course, they always bring Sweden up.
Oh, yes, but 1 minute you love Sweden, the next minute you don't love Sweden, then you love Sweden again, then you don't. I mean, we have a funny relationship with Sweden, full stop, and with all the Scandinavian countries. We just seem to reckon they do what we'd like to do, but better. They're better looking than us, they're taller than us, they have higher average income. They look and sound similar to us. They even deal with immigration better than us. What it is about them damn Swedes. And when you go there, you totally agree with that. Go, I could live here. What a lovely place.
Oh, I've just thought of another one, by the way. It's for people that are going on. I call them the jelly makers, who people keep going on and on about the Great Reset. Which I'm sick and tired of hearing. I mean, I did have an argument with somebody online, and I said, don't you think, it's bad enough with global capitalism is bad enough without the addition of a secret cabal of shadowy necromancers who are controlled. Jesus. Anyway, sorry, I spiraled off there into madness.
Well, all I reckon is all these people banging on about the New World Order, which are basically anti-Semites. And I keep saying to them, what about the old world order? Do you think they've gone away? Do you think that the old world order had just gone, well, this new world order's come along, taken all our power? The old world order is still there. It's nothing to do with this made up thing that you are banging on about, which is basically revealing your own racism.
I know, but I think people find that it's obviously it's easier and it's a sexier, more exciting plot twist, isn't it? If it's the Jews that did it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's got history. That's the thing. It's got. Whereas the one I prefer is because it's so stupid and is lizards. The lizard thing, which a lot of them seriously believe that shape-shifting lizards are part of the New World Order. People who follow David Icke, as well as it's an American thing that David Icke has taken on about the lizard, and it's all stolen from an American TV show back in the 80s, which I can't remember the name of now. V. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So V.
Halfway through every program, they go like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they pull the mask off, and it is stolen from the plot of V. And someone even asked David Icke, did you see V? And he goes, oh, well, actually, I did. And he goes, well, don't you think it's incredibly similar to the thing that you're saying in your books? And he went, well, the scriptwriter's got a lot of things right in that show.
Yeah, and that's mainly because they were all lizards, isn't it?
The idea that you can explain the world from a plot line of a moderately good mini-series.
Yeah,
in the
it
80s.
was moderately good. It was cancelled, wasn't it, as well? They never got to the end of it. So they had 2 series. And we never found out if the lizards were losing, but we never found out.
Who cancelled it, though? Who controlled
That's
the media?
Lizard cancelled.
I think you know. I think we all know.
I think
we all do.
Yeah. You're letting all our secrets out.
Incidentally, I thought of a new insult as well, which could lead us nicely into the next thing for discussion. Is that the German team in the Olympics were wearing it as a protest against the sexualization of gymnasts' clothing. Whatever. They were wearing unitards. And I thought that just sounds like the ultimate alt-right insult, doesn't it? You went to university, you liberal elite unitard. Which brings us neatly onto the Olympics. So there's been several things. I mean, there's been some great, inspiring things. I mean, what have your favourite things about the Olympics been, you guys? What do you think?
I mean, I like watching the swimmers, to be honest. I mean, that's probably how we'll get around after global warming.
It's a new world record.
Yeah.
So you mean only the Australians and the Americans and the Brits are going to survive?
Exactly. And even then, only if they've got better goggles than I've got. I keep trying to see what goggles they've got, because mine, when I'm halfway in the pool, but also, and the triathlon as well, I think. We've won some. I mean, that is impressive to do the 3 of those things, but also
the swimming, running, and ride. It's just I saw that the other day, and the guy that won it for Britain is Yi. Yeah, he comes from Brockley in Lewisham, and it was great to see. But that's hard, isn't it? Diving into the water, doing all that swimming, then coming out to a bike.
Yeah, but one bus pass and you just beat the lot of them, wouldn't you? Really? I mean, it's just, it's like, what's the point of going to all that effort? Just get on the bus. That's what I would do.
But I think that's how they did. I think that's why the British guy did win, because of the traffic jams or the rail replacement services. And they were like, just
he was probably running through Brockley on his way into the West End, and getting stuck down the Old Kent Road, as often happens.
You see, though, that thing I thought was amazing was when the full start in the triathlon. I felt so sorry for those guys, because they must have...
Someone hit the water slightly before they should have done. Is that true?
No, well, there was a whole load. There was a boat in the way.
Just happened to be what?
Yeah,
what was he doing?
Like bang, and so loads of them started swimming. And God, they swim quickly. It looked like kind of piranha racing through the water. And I was just going to go to them, Dave, come back. Because
we had a time penalty. We had to stand on the beach.
How annoying would that be, though? Oh my God!
I actually think
I don't remember what the explanation was, but because half of them were just stood there because there was a boat in the way, they couldn't dive in.
Yeah,
I think your idea of adding piranhas to the start of the actual thing was such a great idea. Then I think records would tumble.
Yes.
But I must admit, did anyone see the BMX races?
Now, I heard it on the radio last night. I was driving back very late from a gig, and of course, on radio you get all the full joy of a triple spin at the start of their routine.
Somebody won gold and somebody won silver, and there's a big picture of the guy picking up the woman, and they're both sort of like almost crying with like. It's a fantastic picture, but it's just a weird thing, to think if you'd have said to yourself 20 years ago the BMX.
They'd be those pesky kids.
Well, that's a good one, because skateboarding is now a thing in the Olympics. What other sports do you think they should have in the Olympics that they haven't got? I'm trying to think, actually.
I think if they're sensible, peloton races. So you can actually have lots of people on their Peloton bikes with their own trainers shouting abuse at them. I mean, that would be good.
Peloton.
Well,
Go on, give it to me. Don't let me down now. You
that
can
is my
do it.
number one phrase that I would like to kill somebody for during the pandemic. You've got this, Peloton. I hate that advert. Oh, I'm half awake. Let's do this, smudge. Oh, just fuck off.
I went onto the Peloton website and checked some of they have all these awful memes that you can download. And one of them was, I only look behind me to see how far I've come. I'm thinking, well, I do that every time I wipe my ass because I want to be careful. It's no point. That is such a useless thing to say. Lots. I can't remember some of the other ones. That's the one that sticks in my mind. Sort of leads me. I do think the rampant individualism of the culture that we're in at the minute is everyone. The Superman thing, superhero thing. We all seem to. I see it driving the whole thing behind the gym, which I have no problem with because people should get fitter. But it's just the aspirational aspects of it. And the whole thing, which I'm probably on my own here by saying this, because I've got nothing wrong with aspiration either. But I think it sort of sets people up for failure. If you're not superhuman in what you do and what you achieve, and that you can achieve everything, you cannot achieve everything. It's just a matter of fact. And in a way, I agree you should tell children this, but after a certain time, you should be realistic with them and go, no. So someone should come to me if I was a teenager and say, you're not going to become queen of the country. And I don't mean king, queen. It's never going to happen to me, no matter what I do, even if it's my dream. No matter how hard I work, I will not become queen of the United Kingdom and Associated Islands. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Some things are impossible, and you need to know that so you can change them. So you can change that.
I'm writing to Peloton to see if they can get you out of this phase with a meme. But no, I mean, but it's interesting because I find, like, I know what you mean, but I actually find the thing I find weird is, you know, I know that Britain or different countries have trained these people and backed them and everything, but I find it very odd, this sort of, and Britain's done so well in the sports. And I'm like, that's great, but what about kids at school learning? I'd rather it was more grassroots, more playing.
Well, you should get the lottery to fund schools. Obviously, that's the big mistake we're making here by leaving it to the government. Because I mean, if it wasn't for the lottery has changed the funding for lots of sports, not all of them, because it depends on results. And what the better you do, the more money you'll get from the lottery.
Hey, by the way, I have thought of another sport that should be in the Olympics, and they do it in my local park. You know that and is it called? It's power walking, but is it the Norwegian one with the? You've got people in these big cagoules going, "Come on, Daphne," like this.
So funny.
They look great.
And this is finally the nail in my middle-aged coffin. I would like to see people throwing litter from a distance in a bin.
That is niche.
I'd make it even
slap them. Sorry, Paul. Go on, sorry.
I think you should make it so they have a pile of litter, and then you time them to see how quickly they can get rid of the pile of litter, and it should only be done for teenagers. So, so it's really difficult for them. They might lose the will 2 minutes in and go, I can't be bothered with this.
I genuinely think that when it's like, oh, we want to feel good. When we lost at the football thing as well, I was like, we could feel good about the country if we put some litter in the bin. But you know,
if you saw London, central London, after that match, after the final, it was oh gosh, it was like a war zone. Rubbish everywhere. People throwing up, people defecating in the street.
Which is hard to do with the firework up your arse, isn't it?
Well, especially on Euston Road.
Listen, we better get on to the next topic. This is Talking about superheroes, I'm just going to a quick song to introduce the next bit, which is very, very topical. This one goes like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. A thing of wonder to us below, or a billionaire wanker with a massive ego. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the big story of the last 2 weeks is billionaires in space. How
Billionaires in space.
Yes, starring in the new film Space Commodity. How many of you, like me, just hoped that Branson wouldn't come back?
I know.
Well, apart from the woman that got trained to be an astronaut and never went up and flew through all the tests.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. What a great name.
Amazing name, Wally Funk.
If that is not the greatest soul singer that never made it.
She should have her own theme music.
Wally Funk and the Astronauts. What a great band.
I'm really into Wally Funk.
Yeah. I'm just in a funk in space. What an idea.
Oh God, this is a really sad bit though. That Elon Musk, the billionaire, sort of egocentric, genius maniac stroke guy, that there's an area. That people used to say that there's so many places in the world that you could go to look at the sky, and but now they're rapidly diminishing because you used to be able to stand in this place in Arizona in the middle of the desert and look up and see the night sky and see the stars, and now they're gradually being all blotted out by thousands of his Starlink satellites, which they're putting in space. Yeah, but we're all partly to blame because we're all social media. We want the immediacy of that. I just think that's such a sad parable of modern life, isn't it? Where's the stars? I can't see it for a huge hunk of junk just floating past.
Wherever man has gone, is they have left shite behind. Some of it intentionally. Some of it was intentional and then becomes shite because it doesn't work no more. And it's going to, we leave shite wherever we go. So the fact that we're sending some big piles of shite into space because they're paying for it as a new, it's just new tourism. And the whole thing was a big ad for them putting money into, now we've done it. Other rich people, you want to do it as well because it comes back and it changes you. You come back and you start wearing a Stetson. That's the sort of change I want for my holiday. It's like when you go to Ibiza and come back with that Spanish sombrero. It's the same stuff. Spain's changed me.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. You could come back with the moon rock, wouldn't you? Yeah. With moon written all the way through it. A hat with resuscitate me quick on the top.
The whole thing's so just so depressing. I felt sorry for Jeff Bezos's brother because when he said he was going into space with his brother, I thought, was his brother pleased or was his brother going, "Oh, this is you just lording it over me"?
Yes, he wasn't. Yeah, go on. You smashed my Lego fort when we were 6, and
now you're doing this. And over Christmas, we always have to come to yours because you've got the bigger telly.
And I can't even go to the toilet when I'm doing my job because you told me I can't do that in the warehouse. It's just...
and they took up, was it? No, hang on. Was it Bezos or was it? Didn't they take, because they took Wally Funk, but didn't they also take a guy from Holland? I thought they took a young guy from Holland up as well, who'd never done an Amazon purchase.
Don't you think it was weird then that something that is a massive ad for a business was news? They interrupted the news to show you this. I'm glad none of us have mentioned the shape of the ship yet, and I hope that we don't, because it sort of sums everything up. And I think it's purpose. I think it's on purpose.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm guessing what shape it was. Exactly like that. It looks like what it should look like. And it's not, and it's going to be for rich men to get into this huge thing and, to complete their lives. It's a bucket list thing. It's a bucket list purchase.
Okay. Wouldn't it be great, by the way? Oh, God, sorry. Cool.
No, it's just completely, to me. But the fact that, it was, the fact that they even auctioned off a place, I was like, you cheeky buggers, like this is an ad and someone paid 28 million to go on the flight with them.
28 million.
Check this, but the way I understood it was they auctioned the place, which to me was already a bit weird. It was like, does he want to go with his brother alone, or do they actually have to have someone else to chit chat with?
What to stop them from punching each other?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure I read that someone paid 28 million for it and then couldn't go due to scheduling difficulties. Like,
what?
Like, isn't there a refund, or isn't there?
Oh, you know how Amazon work. If you're not in between 9 and 6, you've missed your delivery. That's exactly
you landed, but you were out.
If you pay for a flight and it costs almost as much as a train to Edinburgh, then
you can't get a refund. Well, I was going to say, great, because a lot of these, Elon Musk strikes me as he is a bit of a Bond villain. Wouldn't it be great if he just said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gradually populate the whole of the sky with these satellites and slowly take over the Earth, and then a voice just went, I can't let you do that, Elon. The computer.
But if Elon is a Bond villain, it's just the very idea that, of course, he's got this plan to take over the world, and then all his minions are there, and they say, well, what are we going to do first? He goes, well, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put 3 Rizzlers together and build up a fat one, and then we'll think about it. It's just the idea that a stoner is one of the richest people in the world. I think that's ironic. It's just, I wish I had what he was smoking.
Yeah, that's very expensive stuff. Listen, there's one more thing that we've got to discuss. I think we're nearly coming to the end of the show, and this is, I'll start this off with a little bit of a song, but it's quite a topical one. The RNLI brought the boat ashore. You don't like it, do you? You stand there like a gammon ball. We're gonna boo you. Now, this is the story. This is a horrendous story, isn't it? Of it's footage that people have recorded on a mobile phone. It started basically when Farage branded the RNLI a glorified taxi service for picking up refugees from the English Channel, and then people have been standing on the beach, haven't they, going boo, get back to France, go on, shouting at crying children, basically. Which all dads have done, I know that, but it's just
isn't that the worst end to a journey that's probably taken months, and you dreamt about, you've sold all your possessions, you've taken the ones that you need, your whole family's got through Turkey, got into Hungary, got through to Germany, got through to France, spent ages in the jungle on the border in Calais waiting to get, and then you get there and you get to see some bald-headed gammon going boo, go home. What's the worst thing you could? Terrible thing.
We were talking about this before, me and Paul, in the week, and saying that, but they, because they've had a tortuous journey, and you're going to get people who are sort of heckling them. Oh, incidentally, by the way, I love the way the headline said RNLI boat heckled. What is a heckle? What would you say? Don't get off.
Yeah.
Taxi for the immigrant.
What was the one that you said before?
Yeah, taxi for the immigrant.
Taxi for the immigrant. I just find the whole thing rich from what do they think the RNLI is there for? It's for Johnny Posho when he's fallen off his yacht. Is that what it's, it's ridiculous. But also Nigel Farage, isn't he the guy that a few years ago was flying in that plane and then didn't it get stuck in the propeller and he crashed and he sort of emerged going, Aah! And they had to rescue him, and you go, well, that's a waste of money as well. This is supposed to be comedy, but actually, to be honest, I absolutely despair of that lack of, this whole thing about, that Farage played this whole UKIP thing on, we're a Christian country. Oh, well, how Christian is that? Booing people who are going to be dying in the sea. I mean, unless they thought that Jesus was going to walk on the water and pick the refugees out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It really makes me sick, actually. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't look like he can swim himself, does he either? So,
Maybe, by the way, he said that they should be. He's also said that refugees should be hidden away where no one could see them. I thought, well, if you want to do that, just go on GBTV. No one would ever hear of them again, would they? But also got me. Paul and I were
I was just in case. I'll just mention if anyone watching this wants to make any comments, please go ahead and comment away.
Oh, we got one from Nigel Farage. Oh dear, that's a bit nasty. The thing
with Nigel Farage, I never know if he actually believes what he's saying, or he just knows that he'll get people. He's like a little Trump, really, isn't he? I never know if he's just.
No, he's much more. I think he's a bit small. He's lower than that, because Trump would never end up sort of trying to sell you shares on YouTube. Which he's now constantly doing and selling it as politics. Like, I'm selling you freedom by buying these shares, and I'll give you the shares that will give you freedom.
Oh, yes.
And that's, it's a transaction. No one gets freedom through transactions.
I didn't realise that.
I don't know, unless you're buying yourself out of jail. That would probably. I'm wrong there. I'm wrong. You can buy your own freedom.
Sorry, Juliet, you were saying?
I can't remember now.
Sorry.
That's all right. But no, I just think, the whole thing is just ridiculous. But also, good Lord, if they've made it all that way, let them in, give them a job,
Yeah.
They're never going to be the people that ring up and go, I can't get into work today. There's some snow.
We were thinking, though, the kind of people who would stand on the beach. I love that they interviewed this one guy and he goes, I just happened to be passing. And I thought, oh, yeah, you were probably driving on the cliff miles away, saw what was happening and then drove 3 miles out your way. But they're the sort of pedantic golf club bores that you get. Around. But I was just thinking their heckles to the refugees would be like, why don't you go back to where you came from? Via Holland, and then to the border to Belgium, and then into Turkmenistan, and then
turn left at Turkey.
And then go over the border to Iraq, and then down a bit. Well, imagine. They would be. How did you get? They're the kind of people when you meet them, they go, "How did you get here? Did you go A30?"
What you want is a sort of racist road bore that will tell you to go home, exactly give you the direction.
Oh God, we're nearly at the end of the show.
Feeling also with Farage, it's just there's a particular type of man who still seems a bit butthurt, if you'll pardon the phrase, about the Titanic. And he's the kind of man that if you say you're a feminist, he's like, well, what about the Titanic? And I can't help feeling this is that they're like, why were men allowed to be rescued on the Titanic? Why did women and children have to go first?
Did he seriously?
I don't know if he is, but I know.
But yeah, you make it. Yeah.
A lot of people still seem to bang on about, if you want equality, why on the Titanic did the women and children have to go first? And you go, well, A, that was a while ago, and B, perhaps if the blokes didn't lie about how good they were at swimming.
Well, many sailors, of course, can't swim deliberately. That's true, isn't it? My uncle was a sailor, and it's superstition. They don't learn to swim because
they don't learn to swim. Really?
Well, they do now, but in the past, no, because they were quite fatalistic. They thought if you fall in the water, you're only going to survive a few minutes, and why struggle? You may as well just. That's absolutely true. That most sailors didn't say.
Well, hoping the RNLI would come along.
This is a true story, by the way, about the Titanic. I was once in a cinema. I saw it in Dublin, right, and some dickheads were really drunk, and you know that thing in a cinema when people sat very close to each other, but we remember that in the before times, but the whole cinema stank of alcohol, and then they went to the toilet, right? When they came back, the boat had sunk, right? No. They heard them go, what's happened to the boat? We all should have been really solemn, but we all started laughing because they were so drunk. They go, where's the boat gone?
Oh my
idiots.
God.
Now, I'll ask one more question because I've
got one more thing to say about the immigrant thing, which is I tend to blame the county of Kent for all of this. I just think immigrants just don't come to Kent. There's lots of other, the sort of counties that have coastlines. I know Kent is the closest. But if I go to Sussex, if you can just veer a little bit to your left, you'd prefer Sussex a lot more.
You'd get a better brand of hackle, wouldn't you? In Sussex, hackles would be more sort of genteel, wouldn't they?
Well, yes. If you turned up in Brighton, you just walk up to the beach, you go straight onto the pier, and have a wonderful. Your kids will be happy. I mean, it's nice. It's Kent's the problem. I mean, Farage is born and bred in Kent.
Yes,
and
so it's somewhere else, and then yeah. Can I also point out, isn't it that this year we didn't do so well in the rowing in the Olympics?
Yeah.
So maybe we use the refugees as our next.
That's brilliant. Yeah, can you imagine that all the sort of the flag shaggers would be going, I cannot clap this. I cannot.
Yeah.
It would be brilliant. The new awesome foursome.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, have you got anything that's caught your eye in the news, like quirky little stories or anything like that? I know I've sprung it on you, but anything catch your eye? I'll tell you one that really amused me. That the scientists were doing an experiment with bees, and they found that they injected the pollen in flowers with caffeine, that the bees performed better. So bees perform better on caffeine, which I think is.
I'm sure they do.
That went not as well as I thought it would. With decaffeinated bees would be all like.
I do think that's it's weird. I admire this research though, that the bees are dying rapidly and people are going, let's try this out on one of the little buggers.
Yeah. Stop doing, just stop destroying the world with pesticides. Instead, you just give them, give them a voucher for Costa coffee.
Maybe if it's a good thing and it helps the bee, don't give it to wasps, for God's sake.
They're bastards. Somebody once said this. I think it was Mark Hurst, the comedian. I agree with him that people are always, people out collecting for animals. Go, oh, please give, for the dogs or the cats. And if they just did that, went up to some people in the street, went, I'm collecting for experiments on wasps. Fuck them.
Yeah.
People just go, nah, hate them. They ruin my picnic.
So someone's just made the comment about what we should do is share our coffee with bees. I wouldn't mind. I'd love the idea of a load of bees being let into Costas. That would be great. I just.
The problem with that is, though, Paul, they'd never find their way out, would they?
No, that's true.
Bumping against the window.
Yeah.
I actually walked past a Costa coffee place I did a gig last night in Deal in Kent, of all places, and walked past late at night. I thought it was a second-hand furniture store with really bad furniture in it. And then I realised it was empty Costas, which of course that's exactly what they look like.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds like the beginning of a horror film, doesn't it? Haunted Costa. The disembodied voice going, I will be your barista. I can't stand that, but this has got nothing to do with anything. But when they ask you what your name is and they write it on the cup, it just drives me insane. What is your name? And then they, I don't know what, that's going back to that Peloton thing. I wanted to say about the Peloton thing, the aphorisms that they have, that certain people on social media do that thing all the time, don't they? Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. Live every day as if you were a bee. That's, oh, haha, Steve from My Little Table in the Garden. Save sending them to Costa. Hey, but this is rapidly turning into a free plug for Costa Coffee, isn't it?
Yeah,
independent coffee shops.
That's all right. I know there are some great independent ones, but at least we're not mentioning the big nasty one with
what's
the
that?
green branding.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not mentioning them because it means that our check from Costa will be so much bigger. So
Costa coffee, I know that this is probably well trucked, but it is amazing. A few years ago, I went into Costa and I ordered whatever their biggest one is, and you do literally get a bucket of coffee. So if the bees want to tuck in, Fine with me.
Wouldn't they drown though? But what a way
Oh,
to
that's
go.
true.
I mean,
Yeah, I suppose you have to spoon a little bit of like
Wasper coffee.
what's the coffee says?
Yes.
Imagine if you're a bee in a cup of coffee, then you sort of drowning. Going, I'm drowning, but I'm really allowed. I'm drowning.
Yeah, but then the RNLI will come in and save you, and of
Yes.
course you'll be saying to the sailor next to you, "Can you swim?" No, me neither.
No.
So
Yeah, then you get all these nasty wasps going around going, boo, boo. Get back to
I
your
think
hive.
we have done the callbacks. Hey,
Well, I think that's probably
finish now. Finish now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. Thank you for everybody that's joined us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Thanks very much to Paul Ricketts and Juliet Meyers and me, Steve Gribbin. This is 3 comics walked into a non-socially distant pub saying good night.